49ers in the over. Be careful. Nothing really jumps out to me in the NFC South. Bucks should win. Best roster. Falcons may be a little underserved, but I refuse to bet the Falcons on anything. I've lost a fortune over the years. Panthers, Saints, both 6.5 wins. Now, there are two surprises.
Okay. I find this actually pretty shocking. The Falcons 7.5. Listen, people, let's not go too far back. We can just go back to around this time last season when people were so high on the Falcons and with Kirk Cousins, and it was just kind of like, if Kirk Cousins is just who he was with Minnesota, this can be, a legitimate contender, a top team, etc., etc. And they obviously had an inconsistent season, some issues with Kirk Cousins. Coaching was questionable at times. I think that's fair to admit, and all of that. But maybe I'm falling victim to a short sample size. But I was just so wildly impressed with Penix. And I've already made multiple videos doing deep dives on Penix and why I'm excited about him and what I saw in those 3 games. But really, ultimately, in a nutshell, his first 3 games was light years better than the first 3 games compared to Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Caleb, the other starting rookies. Now, they did start earlier on in the season. They started week 1, and he started, at the final 3 games, and so I get that. But they had these, hey, 0-0 record, and, we don't really have anything to, strong expectations. Like, let's get after it. Penix got thrown in and was like, oh, please be a great quarterback, because if you are, we will get to the playoffs. Like, we don't mean to put too much on your plate, but, like, please save us. And he was not the problem. He was not the problem at all. I think he passed with absolute flying colors. And it was because of him. It's not like this team was just so great and they were like, oh, well, they're not really asking him to do much. They're pretty much just being like, hey, just be a competent quarterback. Just don't be a disaster and we'll win those games. Like, no, they were relying on him. They were relying on him to be, like, essentially the top quarterback. Essentially to be the leader of the team at that point. And that's a lot. That's a lot. And we saw other quarterbacks, either backup quarterbacks this last season or, young starters, even from the Saints, for instance, as an example. And, like, things were messy. Yeah, you have a couple drives, a quarter that, like, seem pretty nice. And then you're just kind of like, ugh, what the heck was that? And Penix, for the most part, never really had that. So, I have pretty high hopes. I 7.5 games, 7, so essentially you're going to say, like, are they going to win 7 games? Or are they going to win at least 8 games? Right, it's 7 or less or 8 or more. Man, if they only win like 7 games, man, fire the coaching staff. Then I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, then it would be like some, like, to me, then it would have to be like some major kind of like coaching malpractice where you're just like, what the heck was that? How did you not call a timeout with 1:30 to go on, at the 35 or something? Like, what are you doing? It would have to just be like absolute malpractice. I think there's such a benefit to Penix only playing for 3 games. I think he's got awesome things to build off of. I think he gave enough for his own coaching staff to build off of, coordinator, etc. Start to build some rapport, some connection, some confidence. I think the team is going to have a tremendous amount of confidence behind Penix. The players, the coaching staff, ownership, all of that type of stuff. And it's not like he lit the league on fire in a way where now everybody is like focused. Like, everybody's focused on Jaden Daniels. They're like, Jaden Daniels, like the Eagles know, hey, Jaden Daniels is the real deal. So going into their next, 2 games, they know we got Jaden Daniels. I guarantee you, Fangio's like, I got to focus on how I can really hold back Jaden Daniels. I got to look at these last 2 games that we played against them, look at the film of other games. Like, I really got to make sure I got this guy figured out for our 2 games. Like, it's all hands on deck, in the division, etc., etc. I'm not so sure Penix is necessarily having that effect just yet, based off of his 3 games of playing. What was it? The Panthers, the Giants, and the Commanders, actually. So I think that gives them a major leg up as well. I think you'll catch some teams by surprise. Again, just the sheer fact of their projected win total is, again, it's either 7 or less or 8 and more. And if you're at a 7.5 win total, then they're really expecting you to, again, like, are you either going to win 8 games or 7 or less? Because if it was 8 or more, then technically you would have, again, mathematically, you would have to just bump up the win the over under projected even higher. So to me, there's really a favoring of, like, it's either you're going to win like 4, 5, 6, type games, or you're going to win like 8, maybe 9 at a max. So, like, the expectations and the belief of the Falcons is pretty low. And now, this is one of my more favorite things to do when looking at, projections for next season. Now, of course, it's not perfect to be able to do it this way, because teams change. I'm very adamant about that. That's why I always push back for people saying, like, oh, this is they won the Super Bowl last year. Like, you got to give them the number one, benefit of the doubt. And it's like, no, this is not last year. This is a different team, different year, different everything. But I still just look at the Falcons. I look at the core of what they have, coaching staff. Again, the main foundational players that are there. And I just think to myself, like, now that they should, in theory, have stability at quarterback, a quarterback who, again, I think has shown that he will have success in the NFL, do you think that they're going to be better or worse than they were last year, where you had really kind of a very inconsistent season, some borderline fortunate wins, some borderline crazy wins, some unfortunate losses? Like, the Falcons got a little bit of everything, quite frankly. They had some awful field kicking, some miracle field goal kicking. They had absolute awful quarterback play. They had some miracle quarterback play. So, like, they really got a little bit of everything. They had an amazing quarterback play where leading, Kirk Cousins leading a game-winning drive with like a minute left, but also needed butterfingers from Saquon Barkley too, right? So, like, it was really the good Lord giveth, the good Lord taketh. The Falcons got it all. And I guess I just look at them and I'm just like, if they just kind of play even just 5% more consistent and are stable at the quarterback position and not this, up and down, which, again, he is still going to be a young quarterback. He's still going to go through his own growing pains. I don't know. I find it hard to believe that they don't have at a minimum, but they don't at least at a minimum go, do what they did last season. I don't know. And I think it's a safer feeling and a safer prediction to, win at least a game more than you did, to at least go an extra game there. But I mean, yeah, I just I don't know. I think if you believe that the Buccaneers took a big step forward, and if you think that the Panthers and the Saints are taking steps forward, and so that those wins are going to be harder to come by, I think there'll be a little bit more stability with the Saints. I believe in Kellen Moore. I don't know if Kellen Moore is in a position to, like, completely transform that team overnight. Seems a little bit more unlikely. The Panthers, it's like, I'm happy for what they've been able to do, and Bryce Young and all that, but, like, I still don't really know who they are as a team. And I think with the Buccaneers, I like the decisions that they've made this offseason, and they're also maintaining their core and whatnot. And you can make the argument that they got. I don't want to say that they got better, because I still think it's a question mark when you lose your OC, a prominent offensive force for your team in that regard. And so there's always room for things to be a little disconnected or take a step back. You just don't know. To me, that makes it more unpredictable than anything. But so I'm not going to just automatically crown the Buccaneers, but they do obviously seem to be the front runner to win the division, or at the very least really be the main team that you have to get through, which, again, is hardly a hot take. But do I think that the Falcons can actually legit win some games and pull away more than 7 wins? I mean, I do. I have to imagine that they should be able to at least beat the Panthers, Saints, and Bucks. Within the division, they should be able to get at least 3 wins. I mean, if not 4, potentially even 5. And then so outside of your own division, you just have to find a way to win another, like, 3 games. I like those odds. I like those odds, especially if Penix is as good as I think he is, then I see that they'll definitely be able to beat the lower level teams. They'll be able to compete with the better teams and may even have a surprise win or two against some of these great teams. So yeah, the Falcons are definitely one of my top teams that I'm actually really excited to kind of see how quickly they can right this ship. And how they can get on the right path, because it feels to me that they would have made the playoffs in one more games if they had Penix start from the jump. So, and especially if they allocated money and resources instead of going after Kirk Cousins and did other stuff. But that's, that's neither here nor there at this point. But yeah, 7.5 just feels low to me, man. 7.5. When you only win like 7 wins, you're a bad team. You're a bad team. You typically don't have a quarterback, or you have a terrible coach. Like, you can't really be like a pretty good team that just like had a couple, unfortunate events outside of injuries. But like, you win 7 wins, you're just a bad team. Just straight up. You're a bad team. You're poorly run, bad coach. Like, you're just bad. No quarterback. And I just don't think that's what the Falcons are. I think they still have at least too much stability at their foundation. Again, I'm not going to act like the Falcons are just ready to light the league on fire. The only way that happens is if Penix is really special. Then it's like, all right, let's go. But like, I don't know, man. 7 wins. I just can't see it. Can't see it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Atlanta Falcons being projected to win, a cool 7 wins or so? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.